You love your dog. You feed them, you walk them, you let them sleep on the good side of the bed. So it would never cross your mind that some of the most normal, loving things you do every single day are quietly stressing your dog out. Not hurting them in a way you'd ever notice, just slowly telling them, in a language you don't realize you're speaking, that the person they trust most keeps getting it wrong. The unsettling part? Your dog has been trying to correct you this whole time, with tiny signals you've been trained to ignore. By the end of this video, you'll never read your dog the same way again. And number 5 is the one almost every owner is guilty of, including the ones who swear they'd never hurt their dog. Let's get into it. 1. Stop hugging your dog. I know, this one hurts. That warm, wrap your arms around them squeeze feels like the purest love you can give. To your dog, it often feels like a trap. Here's the thing most people never learn about dogs. They're built to run. When something worries a dog, their first instinct isn't to fight, it's to create distance and move away. Now think about what a hug does. It locks them in place. It takes away the one option their body is screaming for. And your face is right next to a mouth that suddenly has no exit. Dr. Stanley Coren, a psychologist at the University of British Columbia, went looking for proof. He pulled up 250 photos of people hugging their dogs and scored each one for signs of stress. The result was brutal. In over 81% of those pictures, the dog was showing at least one clear signal of discomfort: ears pinned back, head turned away, eyes gone wide with the whites showing, what behaviorists call whale eye, a quick lick of the nose. Only a tiny fraction of dogs looked genuinely relaxed. And here's the detail that gives me chills. When people got angry about that study, they flooded him with their own photos to prove their dog loved being hugged. And those photos showed the exact same stress signals. People were documenting their dog's discomfort and captioning it love. So what do you do instead? Show affection the way a dog actually receives it. Scratch the chest, rub the shoulders, sit beside them and let them lean into you if they want to, so leaving is always an option. Love, with the door left open. 2. Stop rushing the walk. You know the walk. You've got 10 minutes, they need to pee, so you march them down the block and tug them off every interesting smell so you can just keep moving. To you, it's exercise. To your dog, you just dragged them through the most exciting book they've ever read and never let them finish a sentence. A dog's nose is not a smaller version of yours. It's a different universe. Dogs have up to 300 million scent receptors compared to our 6 million, and the part of the brain that processes smell is around 40 times larger than ours, proportionally. When your dog stops to sniff a lamppost, they're not being difficult. They're reading who passed by, when, whether that dog was healthy, stressed, male, female. It's the news, the mail, and social media all in one. Charlotte Duranton and Alexandra Horowitz put this to the test. They gave one group of dogs 2 weeks of nose work, letting them use their noses to search and find things, and another group 2 weeks of ordinary heel walking. Then they measured the dog's mood using a clever optimism test. The dogs who were allowed to sniff became measurably more optimistic. They approached new, uncertain situations with more hope. Read that again. Letting a dog use its nose didn't just tire it out, it changed how the dog felt about the world. So slow down. A few times a week, make it a sniffari. Loose leash, no agenda. Let the nose lead. It's the cheapest mental health boost you'll ever give them. And hey, if this is already changing the way you look at your dog, do me a quick favor and hit that like button and subscribe so we can reach more owners who have no idea what their dog has been trying to tell them. 3. Stop punishing the guilty look. You walk in, the trash is everywhere, and there's your dog, ears flat, head low, sliding away from you, avoiding your eyes. And you think, look at that face, he knows exactly what he did. So you scold him, because clearly he feels guilty. He doesn't. And this is one of the most misunderstood things in the entire dog world. Alexandra Horowitz, a canine cognition researcher at Barnard College, designed a study to catch this in the act. She set up situations where dogs either did or didn't break a rule, and then, separately, controlled what the owner believed. And here's what she found. The famous guilty look had almost nothing to do with whether the dog had actually done anything wrong. It tracked one thing only: whether the owner was scolding them. In fact, the guiltiest-looking dogs of all were the innocent ones who got told off for something they didn't do. That slinking, that averted gaze, that lowered body. It's not a confession. It's fear. It's your dog reading your angry posture and tone and desperately trying to appease you before the storm hits. And there's a second problem. Dogs don't connect a punishment now to a mistake they made a yard ago. So when you scold them for the chewed shoe, they don't learn shoes are off limits. They learn that sometimes you come home terrifying for no reason they can understand. What to do instead? Manage the environment so the mistake can't happen. And only ever redirect behavior in the exact moment it's happening, never after. That sad face isn't guilt. It's your dog asking you to stop. 4. Stop trusting the tail. We've all been taught the golden rule. Wagging tail equals happy dog, safe to pet. It's one of the first things we learn as kids, and it's dangerously incomplete. A wagging tail doesn't mean happy. It means aroused, emotionally switched on. And that arousal can be joy, or it can be tension, fear, or a warning. The secret isn't whether the tail wags, it's which way it leans. Giorgio Valortigara and his colleagues in Italy discovered something remarkable about this. A dog's brain, like ours, splits emotional work between two hemispheres. When they showed dogs something positive, like their owner, the tail wagged more to the dog's right side. When they showed them something threatening, an unfamiliar, intimidating dog, the wag shifted to the left. Then they went further. They showed dogs videos of other dogs wagging left versus right and measured their heart rates. The dogs watching a left-leaning wag became anxious. Their heart rates climbed. The dogs reading a right-leaning wag stayed calm. Let that land. Dogs can read this signal so precisely that another dog's tail direction physically changes their heartbeat. And most humans walk right up to a wagging tail and reach out, never noticing the difference. So stop reading the tail alone. Read the whole dog. Loose, wiggly body, soft eyes, relaxed, open mouth. That's a yes. Stiff body, tight mouth, whale eye, a tail held high and rigid. That's a no, no matter how much it's moving. 5. Stop trying to be the alpha. Here's the big one. Somewhere along the way, you were told that to earn your dog's respect, you have to be the pack leader, the alpha, that you must dominate them, never let them win. Roll them onto their back to show them who's boss. It sounds tough. It sounds like discipline. It's built on a myth, and it's quietly damaging dogs everywhere. The whole alpha idea came from studying wolves crammed together in captivity. The scientist behind it, David Mech, has spent decades since trying to erase his own work. Because when he watched real wolves in the wild, there was no dictator fighting for the top. A wolf pack is just a family. The alpha is simply the parent. And the harm isn't just theoretical. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania surveyed owners who used confrontational, dominance-based methods, and the numbers are frightening. When people hit or kicked their dog, 43% responded with aggression. The alpha roll, that pin them down move sold as the ultimate power play, triggered aggression in nearly a third of dogs. And in dogs already prone to it, it backfired almost every time. You're not building respect. You're building a dog that's scared and defensive. Then, at the University of Porto, biologist Ana Catarina Vieira de Castro measured the actual stress hormone, cortisol, in dogs trained with punishment versus reward. The punished dogs were more stressed and more pessimistic, and it followed them out of training and into the rest of their lives. Even the American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior now says it plainly. There is no evidence that harsh, aversive methods work better than reward-based ones, and plenty that they damage the bond you share. So drop the throne. You were never meant to be your dog's boss. Reward what you love, guide them past what you don't, and lead the way a good parent leads. With calm, not fear. So what does all of this add up to? Every single one of these mistakes comes from the same beautiful human error. We look at our dogs and we see furry little people, so we love them the way we'd love a person. We hug, we scold, we dominate, we rush. And the whole time, they're speaking a quieter language, made of flicked ears and turned heads and tails that lean, gently begging us to notice. Here's the good news. The moment you start listening, everything changes. Because there's one thing science is absolutely certain of. When you and your dog simply look at each other, softly, calmly, both of your brains release oxytocin, the same bonding chemical that ties a parent to a child. It's a real chemical loop of love, and it's already there, waiting. You don't need to be their master. You never did. You just need to listen. So tonight, skip the squeeze. Sit down beside them, let them come to you, and just watch them for a while. They've been trying to have this conversation with you their whole life.